What's going on, everyone? Welcome to QVO Games. My name is Juan. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. This video is going to be about the game that's going to retail the week of May 28th. We have a great lineup of games, some expansions, some hot games that everyone's talking about, and I'm excited to bring them up to you and talk to you all about them. Let's get this video going. First things first, keep in mind I'm covering the games going to retail in the US. Sometimes these games may have already been released in other regions of the world. If that is the case, you may already seen coverage on them on either reviews of other YouTubers, or you may even have a copy because you went to a convention and they released it early. I am covering the games coming retail in the US. If a game gets a change release date, if the release date gets pushed back, I will make sure to update you of that change in its respective video when it's now being released. Let's get these games showcased. First things first, My City Roll and Build by Thames and Cosmo coming out this week is going to be a roll and build, and you're going to be rolling dice, and you're going to be drawing into these little sheets here and you're going to be building out the little city, your city, and you're going to have different scoring conditions, and you're going to play through a 12-chapter campaign. You can play sequentially, or you can play it by chapter. You can play like chapter 4, then chapter 7, chapter 8, and you're going to have different scoring conditions and different things going on each chapter. These type of games are really interesting only because like you can maybe test yourself a lot and try to get like the highest score possible and try to maybe achieve like a 50 plus or 60 plus. I don't know what the average score, what a good score looks like in these games, but I think that's great about these games is that you can always push yourself. If you like achieving better scores or pushing yourself to get a better score in something in particular, these games are typically cool. I've played a lot of roll and writes and roll and builds. I mean, a lot of different roll and flip and writes, all that stuff lately, and I am having a lot of fun with them. So this is definitely one that I've been checking out. I want to try My City extremely bad. Like I really want to try My City. I just haven't gotten my hands on a copy yet. This is going to be by Reiner Knizia, My City Roll and Build, coming out this week. Coming up next, we have Raw by 25th Century Games, coming out this week as well. In this game, you're going to be auctioning and bidding for different dials or tiles. And let me kind of go through a couple of these things here. And this is going to be by the way, I have to mention this is a deluxe copy of the game. So these components look amazing, and the reason why they are is because it's a deluxe edition of the game. It's a really pretty hefty box with a huge bag full of all the tiles you need to play the game. This is an example of them, and excellent illustrations by Ian O'Toole. This game is going to have a auction bidding mechanic, and you're going to be auction bidding for these tiles here. And the way you do so is by using these dials. The dials here, I think they're called sundials, and you're going to be using them to bid for these tiles. And the tiles are going to go onto your player board, which have different scoring conditions, and you're going to be collecting points. And these, I own a copy of this game. I own the deluxe edition. Haven't got to play it yet. I'm trying really hard to play it, but no one yet has. We haven't really gotten around to it at game night. So this is going to be, these are the points you get, and these are metal pieces, like metal coins and components, and you're going to be having them and hiding them so no one really knows how much you have or how many points. So it's going to be a little bit of a guessing game for you. This is going to be just a picture of all the components in there, and the bag itself is huge. It's a huge bag. I'm telling you, like it's the size of my head, if not bigger, and it has all the tiles in there look amazing. They have some great art. The game, I haven't got to play the game, so I can't talk about the gameplay yet. However, it's a pretty straightforward game. Your goal is to collect these tiles and try to score as much as you can with them, and they have different conditions on your player board. This game it's one that I've been talking about, and I talked about it earlier in the month for you to get a pre-order in to get a deluxe edition of it, only because of the deluxeified copy of this game. I haven't seen what the base game looks like, but if it looks anything less than what it looks like now, I probably would not be as enthusiastic, only because the components already alone are just like pumping me up, and I hope I'm not like superficially pumping myself up to be like down for the game itself, but I highly doubt it. This is going to be Raw Deluxe Edition, Raw, coming out this week by 25th Century Games. Coming up next, No Context by Skybound Games, and it's going to be coming out this week. This is an interesting one. It's a funny one. I do have some coverage coming out soon on No Context. I'm excited to talk about it only because the party game of this sounds amazing. It sounds like fun. I love the webcomic cartoon style art they have going on, and let's talk a little bit about the game. So you're going to be using different little tiles, and you're going to be placing them in a way to try to help someone guess what exactly you have going on, like guess a word. And let's go over this, right? You play these 3 tiles, and it's like this, a trash guzzling monster, and it's like this, a small animal, and it's going to not have 2 people or outdoors like this one, having the X here. What is it? Well, it's a small guzzling animal. Trash guzzling monster, small animal, right away, the raccoon. Like that's like that's what you're trying to guess and trying to give them that clue to be that. That is super interesting. I love party games like this. Kind of gives me like a little bit like Similio vibes, and Similio is such a great game. There's going to be No Context by Skybound Entertainment coming out this week. Super pumped about that one. Coming up next is going to be Catstronauts by Alley Cat Games, also coming out this week. This game's going to be like in a little tin. It's a really small tin, and one of the coolest things that kind of reached out to me and caught my eye were the fact that you can actually decorate your meeples. So these cat faces on your meeples, you're going to have the stickers to kind of put them on yourself and match them up. They're going to look like this, no faces, and you're going to be able to put the stickers on and customize each little meeple on it. I think it's super neat. It's like little touches and little finicky, like little things like that that give these games a little bit more life, a little more fun factor, entertainment to it. This is a family style game with it's basically time based and sequential. You're going to be trying to get your cats onto specific planets that are announced in the game as an objective. Getting your cats there as quickly as possible is your goal, and you do that by completing missions, and you grab the card to rescue a kitten. It's going to be a quick, fast-paced time game, and you're going to be playing with family. Plays like at 15 minutes, and it's also in a small little tin box. I think it'd be cool if we have like a lineup of games all in like tin cans or something like that. Like having like a collection of those would be really neat. And I think so far there's a couple of games from different publishers who have that, but having like one line of them would be neat. This is going to be Catstronauts coming out this week by Alley Cat Games. Coming up next, we have Vivarium by Studio H and Hachette. This is going to be a site collecting game. First things first, and the cave has been discovered with a lot of weird, interesting creatures, right? A lot of different creatures that look different, and your goal is going to be using these little dominoes to try to match up coordinates. Like for example, let's just say 1-2, 1-2 will lead up to 1-2 to this creature here, which has a little symbol. Let's actually say it was 2-2 only because I think that the Loboka in here is a little too strong for that picture. To get a better clear here, you're going to be collecting this animal by going 2-2 on your dominoes, and you're going to be collecting this one. You have points down here, as well as a symbol in the top left when you're making your collections, your sets. Down here, you have little items that multiply. They give you like point multipliers. You want to collect these items as well, and they give you point multipliers for your set that you're collecting. And there's going to be different objectives you can achieve that are going to multiply your score as well throughout the game. It's a set collecting game at heart with a little bit of a twist with using dominoes to kind of pin out the coordinates of the card you want to collect. Interesting little game. It plays pretty quick, 30 minutes, 2 to 4 players. It has great art. I'm curious. I'm really curious. I heard a little bit about this at Gamma. We met with Hachette and I got to see a little bit of it. I want to play it myself to kind of get a good opinion. I'm excited to try it out at least one time. There's a lot of set collecting games already. I want to see how this one holds up against like the mass market there is already. But the art alone is very neat. I really love the art. This is going to be Vivarium coming out on May 31st by Studio H and Hachette Board Games. So coming up next is going to be Legacy of You coming out on June 1st by Garp Hill Games. Legacy of You by Garp Hill Games coming out June 1st. I said that completely out of order just now. This is an interesting one. It's by Garp Hill Games and Shem Phillips. Hadrian's Wall is a game that people are comparing this game to, and I am a big fan of Hadrian's Wall. Legacy of You is going to be a solo game. You play it solo, and only it's meant to be played solo. You're playing through a series of campaigns. It's going to be a campaign. And when you play through it, the campaign's fully resettable. So once you play it once, you can actually play it again or pass it to a friend, reset it, pass it to a friend so they can play it as well. And you're going to be managing resources. You're going to be getting different resources from the cards you have. And you're going to be managing them the best way possible, which is kind of like Hadrian's Wall, the resource management aspect of it. But in Hadrian's Wall, you're also flipping and writing things, of course, as well, and gaining resources to use. I love Hadrian's Wall. Legacy is one I really want to try. This game is extremely hot right now. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's talking about it. There's content all over the internet. So if you're trying to decide if you do or don't want to buy this game, look up some videos. There's plenty of content right now. And for no surprise at all, I mean, Shem Phillips and Garp Hill Games. I mean, Garp Hill Games has made some amazing games, phenomenal games. I am really sad I haven't got to try all of them, and I really want to, and I will get there hopefully soon. There's so many games to play in so little time. Legacy of You. I want to show you some pictures real quick of the game. I'm going to go over to Board Game Geek. Just going to scroll through a couple of shots. This is going to be it's going to just be the round structure. This is going to be how the meeples look. I want to show you the board. That's a great shot. Ilya, actually, from Calvary shot these shots. Look at that and posted them to Board Game Geek. This is going to be the way the board looks, and you're going to be going down the river, putting down different cards that are going to activate, and you're going to be gaining resources and paying resources to do X amount of things. There's going to be different scoring conditions. A lot of people call this game difficult or hard. Like it has a really difficult, it's a really difficult game. And I mean, it depends what you're into, right? Like what kind of game are you into playing? What do you want to play? And people say it's really difficult. Also, a lot of the reviews are saying that there's a lot of randomness involved with the game. The randomness with the, like, there's a lot of randomness that is kind of uncontrollable or can mitigate the random in some way, and maybe that's what makes it difficult. And apparently after you get the game and get what's going on, you can usually get it every single time after you understand the puzzle going on. One thing I want to point out was really cool that they did, and I think every board game publisher who publishes games should have this, only because when you're like, what the biggest thing for me when you're bringing out a game to the table, if it's like in a really bad organization, like it's in a bunch of little baggies and stuff, which I usually don't mind. I think it's just kind of, I say I usually don't mind. I do mind. I like having a good organizer in a game because bringing it out to the table makes it easier. You set it up faster. It's easy to bring out. Not as tedious. You don't have that dreadful thing of like, oh man, it's all disorganized. I have to hunt for things. It's all just perfectly organized. This just includes like a little bit of an organizer with the cards as well as the resources and where they all go. I think all games should start kind of implementing something like this. But that's just my opinion. And this is going to be a fun game called Legacy of You by QVO Games coming out on June 1st. Coming up next, this is a big one. Atomic Mass Games is releasing Star Wars Shatterpoint on June 2nd. Star Wars Shatterpoint. This is going to be a skirmish game, it's going to be a tabletop skirmish game. You're going to set up a team of your favorite Star Wars characters. You're going to go at it against other people, and it kind of similar or matches kind of like Marvel Crisis Protocol. Not in gameplay, just in the source, like kind of like the overall of the game. You're going to have resin kits you're going to be collecting when you buy the games. You're going to be building these resin kits, which you can eventually paint. And you're going to have each character is going to be asymmetric and have some type of abilities or some type of stats that you're going to be using in the game itself. And the characters are going to range. I'm sure they're going to have a bunch. If they follow the same way they're doing Crisis Protocol. I mean, Crisis Protocol has at very well over $2,000+ of just resin kits you can collect of characters. And I'm typically a person who wants to have it all or doesn't, and I love Marvel, so yeah, I have a lot of Crisis Protocol stuff. In this game, you're gonna have your different, you're gonna have of course the word is leaving my head, your different structures. The word is here. I'm gonna remember it later. I'm gonna hate it so much. You're gonna be able to collect different. There's gonna be different characters. They're gonna have different abilities. You're gonna collect them all in packs, and they're all gonna be usable in game. Terrain. That's what it was. Terrain. That's the word it was. And it's gonna be terrain. It's gonna be like kind of places where you battle and such like that. I love Crisis Protocol. In Star Wars Shatterpoint, apparently there's a different mechanical and battle system that doesn't really include dice or anything when you're playing. It's I can't remember exactly what it was, and it's going to basically it's going to be a system where you're going to be using cards in a battle system of like a numbers game of who has the higher number as the cards come out. And it's going to be a tabletop skirmish game, but they changed it up a little bit to make it a unique system, not comparable to like other skirmish games. If you love Star Wars, there's going to be a lot of content here. And I think, honestly, if you go small and you just buy like yourself a little team, you can then go play with people or have a team already set up. If you're a fan, I'm a fan of Marvel, I guess. I collect everything for Crisis Protocol. I have almost everything. I'm missing a couple things. I'm trying to push back and hold back on the budget. But this is going to be similar to that. Star Wars Shatterpoint coming out on June 2nd. Coming up next, we have Book of Time by Board and Dice, and it's going to be coming out also June 2nd. This one is a very interesting one. I think they're doing something very unique with this game, and it's just with the components themselves, which I think was presented in a really cool fashion. In Book of Time, you're going to be collecting pages to create a book. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit. This is kind of your book, but I'm going to scroll down. Actually, let's start here. This is going to be the way the board's set up. And yeah, this is going to be your books down here. You're going to be filling them up with pages, and you're going to be able to flip open the books and activate different abilities. And the abilities you activate are going to be activated sequentially. So for example, you put a card into your book, you open your book to activate the abilities, and then you're going to keep going, flipping the pages, activating the abilities on the pages. And then when you want to stop, you just close your book, meaning you don't want to continue your engine any further, which is really interesting. I think the whole interesting part is just the way you're going to be setting it up. I don't think any board game has done that yet, where you have like a book you are building. And that's so far the things that impressed me. I'm going to show you these pictures here because they're really great pictures. Whoever took these did a phenomenal job. But this is going to be the book here, and it's going to be a little stand for your book, and here are going to be the abilities you're going to be using, and it's going to be awesome. I am extremely excited to play this game, only because I feel like what they're doing here is different and no one's doing that. And I love playing things that are refreshing and just brand new. So I want to see how this plays and how that component is just properly. I'm gonna keep going. Just you can see some great pictures here of all like the game, all the components, and a lot of pictures of the books. This is going to be Book of Time, coming out on June 2nd by Board and Dice. Coming up next, our last one we're talking about, It's a Wonderful World, Leisure and Decadence. This is going to be an expansion for It's a Wonderful World. And It's a Wonderful World right now is ranked in the top 120 games in strategy and Board Game Geek. That is really impressive. I think, I mean, there's well over, I mean, so many games to be even ranked in the top 500, 1,000 is still a game I want to check out at least one time. It's a Wonderful World, Leisure and Decadence is going to add a campaign-style expansion to the main game itself. The main game is an engine builder where you're going to be drafting cards, and you're going to be building your engine with those cards you drafted, you're going to discard one or two. You're going to discard cards to gain the resources to be able to build your city. And in your city, you have the engine you're going to be making with those cards. This adds a 6-scenario campaign to it, so you not just play the base game, but you also now can add a campaign to that as well. Leisure Decadence is going to add that stuff, and as well as new cards you can use in the future for your games to be played as. This is going to be the boxes for what's being added in. They're all secret boxes. You play it in sequential order. I am extremely excited for this game. I'm extremely excited to play this. I actually was very fortunate enough to get a copy of It's a Wonderful World and It's a Wonderful World Leisure and Decadence, so I can do some coverage on by Lucky Duck Games. Thank you. If you're watching this video, Lucky Duck Games, I appreciate it so much. I am super excited to dive into that game. This expansion is going to add a 6-scenario campaign, and I'm excited for that as well. Excellent. This is going to be It's a Wonderful World, Leisure and Decadence, coming out on June 2nd by Le Bout de Jeu and Lucky Duck Games. We are at the end of the video. Thank you for watching the video. I appreciate it. My voice is going out as I've filmed this twice, and I've been talking for a whole hour straight. So I'm sorry about that. If throughout the video you hear me clearing my cough, I apologize. Hopefully it's not too loud. But thank you for watching the video. I appreciate it. If you like the video and what we're doing here, please drop a comment just letting us know what game you're picking up and what you may be picking up. It can be one of the games mentioned here, or it can be something on your wishlist for a long time that you saved up your dollars for to time to save up and buy a game. Or drop a like or a subscribe to the channel. It just kind of helps out with the algorithm, as well as the fact that you made it this far into the video is honestly more than enough. I appreciate that because that also helps a ton. Thank you for watching the video. I appreciate it. Have a good one.